borrow your ear. I'll sing you a song about Leonard Peltier. He's gone so long in a federal jail, the innocent victim of a tangled tale. In South Dakota, where the fear has grown, the president's a watch from a mountain of stone. They say all people are free to roam. There ain't no freedom in the Indian home. How many have gone before? And tell me how many more must be lost to the Indian war? The company spoke to the high command. We read the deeds to the Indian land, to dig for oil and uranium ore, and maybe have to start a little Indian war. The orders came from away on high, and it was a job for the FBI. It won't be hard, all we'll have to do is just cause a little trouble and follow it through.
There were people being murdered, intimidated, women being raped, beaten, men being found dead on the side of the road because they were voicing their opinions against the administration that was in office. You had a group of goons called Guardians of the Oglala Nation. They were working with Dickie Wilson, who was a tribal chairperson at the time. It's like, you know, you have that, the Hatfield and McCoy feud. It runs in that vein. So there's a lot of bad blood between people. A lot of these goons have come out and they've gone back into sweat. They've gone back to Sundance. They've gone back to the traditional ways, except nobody wants to say, I'm sorry for what I did. Nobody wants to say, I'm sorry for my part in it. So this is kind of a healing to bring these two factions together and say, you know, this happened. We have to get past it. We have to work together for our people. My understanding what happened 28 years ago is that 2 FBI agents entered onto the property of the Jumping Bull family. None of the Jumping Bull family was in town. I believe Rosalind Jumping Bull was up in Rapid City taking Dennis Banks to a court appearance. There was some misunderstanding. Shots were fired. Apparently 2 FBI agents were killed in the gunfight that ensued. Leonard Peltier has been blamed for it. There was no one there to witness it, to say that they actually saw him pull the trigger.
There's so much history, there's so much story, that it can never all really be covered in the short times that we have. But I'm glad to see everyone here, and I'm really happy that I could be here. It just turned out. Because me, I remember, you know, the most, like I identify a lot with Milok, because we're honoring Milok here on Memorial Day today. And Annie Mae. And I mean, we come from Joseph and where June and Annie Mae are, but the struggle that we've been involved in, this war that was fought, and the way that it was fought 28 years ago, 30 years ago on this reservation. The war is still here and it's still real, but form has changed. It's like we deal with a predator. There's a predator that it's not just white people and Indians. There's a predator mentality. A predator mentality that Western civilization represents. And it ate up its own people. It put its mentality into white people before it ever got here. It erased the predator. What the predator thing does is it erases the memories. It erases the ancestral memory of the human beings. That's its long-term objective. These battles and these little wars that get fought, the predator has time for that. The war against the native people, the predator war against the native people is the same war the predator war waged against the descendants of the tribes of Europe, and that is to erase the ancestral memory. That is to alter our perception of reality. To use violence, poverty, all of the aggressive, bad-behaving ways are used, but all of that is done to instill, make fear the strongest part of our reality, to alter how we perceive reality, to alter how we perceive ourselves and our abilities as human beings. This war remains continuous. This war does not change. They are more dangerous now than they have ever been in this war. The peoples of America, non-native speaking generally, but the peoples of America, they still believe what the predator taught them to believe. They may rebel against it, they may have quarrels with it, but they believe in the predator perception of reality. And the predator perception of reality is that there is something wrong with all of us. There's something wrong with us. We have to obey. We have to listen to them. The predator perception of reality is because there is something wrong with us, we must consume. Because there is something wrong with us, our lives become dominated with fear. And in order to teach our children to think their way through clearly and coherently, then we must think our way through clearly and coherently. What is it that we can help them with beyond just blind hope? What is it that we can help to develop with them that goes beyond wishing and wanting and hoping and all of the fantasy stuff, but gets right down to we know that it would be there. We have pieces of it. We know to keep the culture. We know to keep the memories of the ancestors. I think the next thing is to say, to help them to understand, to help ourselves to understand, to help them to understand, to think the value of our intelligence, to use it as clearly and coherently as we possibly can, because the people that we have come here to acknowledge today, this is what they have in common. Clear and coherent use of the intelligence when it was necessary to do so. And we are here. See, that's the power. That power brings us here, and the people that can't come here, but do remember. See, this is the power that the predator fears. The predator fears people who see differently. The predator fears people who use their intelligence to think. The predator is not afraid of anybody picking up a gun, a bomb, or any other thing because they made them. So the predator does not fear that. That furthers the predator's program. They fear people who think and use their intelligence clearly and coherently. They fear people who do not judge. They fear people who recognize but do not judge. Recognize the reality of the situation, do not judge it. We can't say it, we have to show it. But 5 generations from now, it is not okay to the predator if the Indians have memories of their ancestor, if the Indians still have the memory of the earth as the mother, if the Indians still have understand the reality of a spiritual reality. This is what the predator is out to erase.
My good friend here, Tom Porber, has been over helping in Martin ever since we organized, and even involved in some of the marches and some of the other protests we did in Martin before that time. And maybe he'd have a few words to add to our thoughts here.
Allow me, I'll address. You know, the Lake Creek Civil Rights Committee, they kind of opened up my eyes to a weapon that we've had for many years, but we've never exercised it. And this weapon could help in Leonard Peltier's case, and a lot of other brothers and sisters that are locked up in the penitentiaries, and of all the unsolved murders that are happening over these inadequate, incompetent investigations in the deaths of our people. And that's our vote. You know, I never did vote in a federal, national election or a state election because I always looked at these governments as illegal governments on my land. But with the Lake Creek Civil Rights Committee, they opened up my eyes to that weapon, and that's our voting power. We need to really start exercising that right, that weapon of voting, and that could help in Leonard Peltier's freedom, and a lot of other brothers and sisters, and even applying pressure on a lot of these attorney generals to get a special team of investigators other than the FBI to solve all these unsolved murders and help our relatives come home from these penitentiaries.
Today we're having a little something going for Nilok. Nilok is from here. She's part of my family. All the girls and all the boys that were here for us, they're part of my family. And it really hurted me when she passed away, because I can't be with her. I wanted to be with her, but I can't. I didn't make it. I was here, and it was kind of cold, and so today I just wanted to remember her the way she was. She was a very brave girl, and I wanted to thank John Trudell and Bruce for being here. John came to us after what happened to us here. And he came real strong. I really have a lot of respect for John. And so is Bruce. He helped all of us, and he really helped Leonard. And it really hurts that half of the people that were here are gone. They're passed away, and Leonard can't see them. And that really hurts too. But today, we want to remember Nilok the way she was. She was a good girl. She likes to cook. First time she cooked, they live in that log house, and I went over there, and she cooked oatmeal, and she put raisins in there. Well, next day she cooked, and she fried spuds, and she put raisins in there. And then she cooked beans, and she put raisins in there. And she must have really liked raisins. But, you know, I wanted to remember her like that, you know. She's a lot of fun. All of them are that way. They're a lot of fun, and they really help my folks. I'm sorry that all the other girls are not here, and some of the boys are gone. Still, they're part of my family. My folks are gone, but I'm still here, and me and my sister and my brother. So they're part of our family, and we love them, and they're welcome to come here anytime they want to. And all of you too, you're welcome. All the Leonard Peltier supporters. I know you love Leonard too. You believe in him, and that's really good. I love that. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Fidelia Cross. I'm from here, and I'd like to say a few words in behalf of Nilak, since this is her day that we're honoring her. Nilak came here 27, maybe 28 years ago, and she camped right down there below that, under here. And she was a really good person. She treated us real good, and we learned a lot from her. She was a warrior. She wasn't afraid of anything. And 27 years ago, she fought with the FBI, and then you all know the story, what happened. But this is where she stayed. That was the place that she stayed, her and Leonard and different people that were here. And Dennis and Leonard, they all taught us how to be a warrior, not to be afraid. And they taught us how to talk on walkie-talkies, and they taught us how to shoot pistols. They taught us all that because we didn't know how to do all that. Like Brother John Shadal was saying, they took all that away from us, but then they brought that back. And I always thank AIM for coming. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm really grateful that AIM came and gave us back our honor and our bravery. This is where the house used to be, right here. You could kind of see the foundation around here, and over there is where the door to my grandparents' house. Because see, my father's mother's, her name was Bessie Little Killer, and her brother was Gaka Harry Jumping Bull. And so they were brothers and sisters, so we're real blood related here. And then my grandparents, they took their house, they shot it up. And look, you see a house here today? No, you don't. And yet at the same time, the government is giving away all this money to these Iraqis, and all these people. How come there's no home here? How come they didn't replace it, what they did? And I like to challenge. I go all over the place speaking for Leonard, and we almost got him out, but we didn't. But that's okay. We're gonna still go. We're gonna still go, and through our prayers, maybe someday he'll get out.
Before we conclude our program today, I'd like to call one more guest, very special, important person who has been with Leonard from the beginning, from his first trial up to now. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Bruce Ellison.
I've been asked to say a few words about, Leonard's situation. From the day this firefight happened, the government began a lie. They began a lie about what happened and who was involved. They began an effort to destroy the movement that was growing here. FBI documents that we've obtained from that time period say very clearly that what they were afraid of was that this was a community where not just men, not just women, children, elders, everyone understood what the struggle was about and were sacrificing everything to try and make this a better place for the children, for the future generations. And as has been mentioned before here today, Leonard Peltier was one of those people that came here. And as we know now, the government targeted him for criminal prosecution and fabricated the evidence to convict him, and manipulated that courtroom environment to see to it that he is in prison, as he has been now for over 27 years. And we've been to court many times. Every time we get new evidence that shows clearly the lie that the government presented to the jury, the court system is manipulated and keeps him in. Every time we try to go to Congress to have them investigate what the FBI did here, and all of the men, women, and children who were killed, the people that were maimed, the people with holes in their bodies, the people with damages to their beings from the violence that was directed by the United States government against the people here.
Yeah, so after we're done here, we'll be going over to Roman School, share a meal with everyone there, then we'll continue with our program with our guest speakers. And then after that, we'll be having a music festival. If anybody's got a mila out there, a knife, the ladies here would like to cut these 2 cakes here and share them with everyone here this afternoon. So if anybody's got a good buck knife, or bring it up and we could use it up here.
What Leonard wanted to pass along to you is the following information. First of all, that he is still committed to all of the things that you were committed to, and you continue to be committed to this day. He wants to also chime in and let you know that he is in favor of this concept of healing through racial harmony, and that we're all human beings, and we should acknowledge one another as human beings, whether we come from the white part of the medicine wheel, or the red, or the black, or the yellow. So he wanted me to pass that information along to you. He also wanted me to let you know that overall his feelings, although it seems at times that after 27 years in wrongfully convicted and imprisoned, that there would be a lot of hopelessness. But what he wants to say, and what he asked me to pass along, was that he has a lot of hope for the future, and he has a lot of belief that as human beings, that we're going to be able to free him from the prison that he's in.
You know, myself, I feel for the victims of the bombing at the courthouse, the federal courthouse in the federal building in Oklahoma. I feel for the people that of the Twin Towers on September 11th, and because my people were also felt terrorist attacks when the 7th Cavalry attacked our villages at daybreak. You know, Wounded Knee, 1890 is one, Sand Creek, where women, children, old people were murdered. You know, at the dawn, before the sun come up, they would attack us. So, you know, we've also experienced terrorist attacks by this government.
The U.S. government was
But the U.S. government got involved because they were scared of the truth. You know, and I thank the American Indian movement for coming and supporting our traditional people, our spiritual people, our headsmen, our elderly people. And all we wanted was our identity back. And we wanted the treaty issues to be dealt with, of all the treaty violations, the human rights violations that were against our people. The government was scared that we were bringing out the truth. And any time that you oppose a government, no matter if it's a federal government, a state government, or a tribal government, when you oppose a government, then that government will do anything to quiet you from speaking the truth.
Mr. Vernon Belfort.
In 1972, when we were on the trail of broken treaties, and there are many elders here today, as younger people, like many of us were there, we drafted a manifesto calling for restitution, reparations for the war crimes, restoration of lands, for a reconstruction of an Indian future in America. It is part of a broader campaign to destroy the American Indian movement, because we are the catalytic force on the whole issue of sovereignty and self-determination. I hate to say, but many of our leaders of that time didn't know what the word sovereignty meant until it was the American Indian movement that brought about this new consciousness. And because of that, 27 years later, after a tragedy that took place right here in this nation, the death of Anime Aquas, the FBI, Bureau of Indian Affairs Police, the Central Intelligence Agency, have intensified their campaign to keep Leonard Peltier in prison and to attempt to continue the discrediting process to demean the leaders of this movement.
Well, after Wounded Knee, they have this goon squad, you know, terrorizing everybody. We can't even go to town. Sioux Nation was our shopping center, but we can't go there because they're all around there, you know. And they'll chase us away or, you know, do things to other people, you know. They hit them and stuff like that. And so, and then they go, you know, they terrorize people. They told us not to have gatherings. We can't, you know, have no meetings or nothing. We can't even visit our neighbors. They told us not to have gatherings, no kind of gatherings. They put a stop to everything. And they travel around and with pickups, with guns, you know, and stuff like that. So if we want to have a meeting, we always sneak, you know, and they don't even allow us to have this yard lights, you know. They shut them out too, and so everything has to be quiet and dark.
To really talk about the days or the years of the Reign of Terror really brings a lot of sadness and sorrow to me because of a lot of traditionalists, a lot of supporters of the American Indian movement were killed or harassed or their houses shot up or burnt up. It brings a lot of sadness to my heart to remember them days where you know, you couldn't even go to the grocery store without carrying a gun or checking your mail without carrying the gun. And but we had to pick up the gun to defend ourselves, to defend our families against the FBI, against the goon squads.
One side was armed, and the other side wasn't allowed to be armed.
And the side that was armed?
We're basically, it was done through the Bureau of Indian Affairs Police and the tribal police, but the directors behind it were these FBI people that came in and set all of this in motion. Because this reign of terror, there was no reign of terror in 1972. There were hard times, but then the FBI showed up in January of '73 because AIM had taken over the BIA building in Washington, D.C. for 1 week during Nixon's re-election. So they were really angry at us. But they couldn't deal with us in Washington, D.C. because there was too much scrutiny. So when we left, and the FBI came to Pine Ridge in January of '73 and started arming the police and training them and just using the police to fight a political war against the AIM activists and their traditionalists who were their base of support. And this is what the American government was trying to attack. So they used this reign of terror to try to terrorize people and break their spirit. But in the end, all it does is it intensifies it in some kind of a way. You know, and because, and like that one day in June in 1975, at that firefight, it has a lot of symbolism because the people fought back. You know, in a situation where they were truly outnumbered because for 2.5 years this war had been being waged against them.
One of the founders of the Indigenous Women's Network. So I'd like to introduce and welcome a very special guest, Oglala Commemorative. I'm just going to say a few words.
Ani ninduay baganatak ngagway tumagas BBC ko ito makpa ndo deyam kawa babade kag ishkara getting into jabag which ninduay baganatak which Buwan and Niniwag Buanak. Thank you again for the honor of being here. tonight with you in this day, and also on behalf of our relative Milak. Thank you so much, all of you, for all that you've done and for our communities. I just wanted to acknowledge that this is a tough time in our country. It's always tough being an Indian person out here in the predator nation when you're the prey, and that what you have is that which someone else wants. And now, you know, in the era of the Patriot Act and the new encroachments on civil and constitutional rights, our communities face more and more of an onslaught as we stand up and raise our voices for things. As we raise our voices for our people, as we raise our voices for our land. But I want to encourage you all to have that courage to continue with your commitment and your courage and your prayers and your hard work, because that is how we find justice. That is how we find reconciliation. And that is how change is made, through the hands and the hearts and the commitment of individuals who keep on working and who keep on in that hope and that fire in their hearts that things will always be better. And this is a good time for that. This is the seasons when we celebrate. This is the seasons when we pray. This is the time when we have some of our strongest ceremonies, and this is that time when we remember that we're only here for a while on this earth. We pass on, but it is our legacy that makes that life for our children so much stronger and so much better. So miigwech. Thank you all for all your good work, and really wish you the best.
Well, 28 years ago today, I was in Custer, South Dakota. Dennis Banks' trial, and we took him up there. He stayed with us at our place, you know, and he had his boys there. And every morning, one of them has to go with us. You know, I always go with it, take him, you know. So that morning we was going to leave, and we was going to take him to Custer, and I and my niece, we were going, and Joe Stunts was supposed to go with us, but he said he's going to stay and he has other things to do. So last minute he said if it's all right for him to stay. So then I said, go ahead. So just I and my niece, we took him to Custer, and I was at Custer while everything happened at home. So the shootout and everything. We came back, and here our place was just packed with, it's like a regular war, you know. It's just packed with CIs and FBIs and everything, every uniformed person that, you know, has anything to do with, you know. And that's what, you know, that's what we came back to, is roadblocks and everything. They wouldn't even let us go into, get back to the house.
See, I gotta put down for my natives nationwide. Stay up in your game. Stay focused on your task at hand. Cause you know, nowadays we all struggling. Gotta make that bank somehow, some way. Gotta pay that rent, gotta do your thing. Just handle your business, cause I'm about to do mine. So it's better time for me to step to that game hella smooth with that bomb song, being that bomb rhyme, manipulating metaphors to get my point across. Cause I'm running and gunning, ducking and dodging and notching my game up in your dome, making my nigga out your brain like cocaine. Cause I'm the main man with a master plan, staying focused on my task at hand. Cause all these record labels jockeying the mic, flossing these bikes riding, gliding, slipping and sliding at the show with the cash flow, with the petrol, cause the ass flow, with the metro, with the minute. So what's it? I'm just living this life one step at a time, taking things sliding in the fast lane, cause life's too short. So why you tripping on my clothes, my ride, my eyes, and my dots, try to fade the flame. Cause you know I'm staying in the zone, hella smooth, kicking on these flows and representing for the L to the A to the K to the O, T to the A, all day long. They can't stop my flame, cause I'm creeping with the whole load of soldiers, moving through the night like a phantom, unseen and unheard until the moment of impact. You know you feel that, it's gonna be coming up in this game, dropping it down like a bomb, holding microphone in my palm like napalm as I keep my calm and keep on going all night long. When I step into that microphone, I'm shoulder hypnotizing because we coming with that zone. Coming with that rhyme out of time, so it's got that time for me to step to that game hella smooth. With that bomb song in that bomb rhyme, right on time to the beat. Manipulating metaphors to get my point across, cause I'm coming up in the game hella smooth. Time at the time, got to dose you with that rhyme, cause we coming up in this situation, staying true to the game. Can't stop this flame, cause we representing all our natives to the fullest. Building up these soldiers nationwide. Time at the time, have a battalion ready to break through the night. Got the roar on that war path, and they can't stop my flame, cause I'm creeping with these soldiers down to ride all night long. We coming up in this situation, putting it down time at the time. So it's about that time for me to step to that game hella smooth with them bomb songs and them bomb rocks. Manipulating metaphors to get my point across, cause I'm running and gunning, ducking and dodging and lodging my game up in your dome, making my name grow out your brain like cocaine, cause we moving through the situation like the main man.
Leonard was a friend of our family. He was actually adopted as a son in the Indian way by my grandfather, my grandparents, and so he was like a family member, and he came at a time when no one else would. There were, since '73, there were numerous beatings. As you've seen the documentaries, you know, FBI supplied weapons to goon squad members, death squad members, and there was a counterinsurgency war, a low-intensity conflict that occurred here on this reservation in this country, and it was the focus for a while of international government, and in order to keep that focus, we maintain a constant vigil for Leonard Peltier, so that you know, the world and the world people of the world could really understand the focus that Leonard was imprisoned because of defending helpless, innocent women and children. Defending, I was a child, my cousins, my grandparents, we were being assaulted, drive-by shootings occurred, nobody ever heard of those before. They weren't even introduced into the Los Angeles cities yet. Yet they happened here on this reservation. So it brings a lot of interesting questions in my mind. You know, were we an experiment, or you know, were we an experiment of counterintelligence, or something? You know, as a group, as a nation of people, you know, as a society. So that's still a question in my head, and I think if we continue the focus of pushing for congressional and Senate investigations into this reign of terror and the FBI's involvement in this, I think that we could come to some resolve and maybe answer some of those real serious questions, because our lives are being messed with.
During the reign of terror, what happened is my people were very divided. You know, you had the traditionalists, you had the supporters of the American Indian movement, you had the goon squads, you had the IRA government, and families were divided. And to this day, they're still divided over this. And, you know, for 30 years now, you know, we've been praying for peace amongst our people, that we can't allow the federal government to divide us anymore. We can't let IRA government divide us anymore. We can't let the goon squads divide us anymore. And now the goon squads, now they go to Sundances, now they go to sweat lodges. And that's all we wanted, was to be Indian. And it's too bad that, and it saddens me that so many people lost their lives for this to happen today. But after 30 years, we're still in the healing process of healing over those terrible days, you know, the reign of terror, the days of death, the days of harm coming to my people, the days of grandmas and grandpas crying over seeing people divided, seeing people dying, and all we wanted to do was be Indian.
I'm waiting for our fourth memories dressing up. We're going to do this one. This one's Dazzle in honor of all the Lakota women.
nothing of it I got. Everybody's looking at you, and everybody wants to be a part of you. I confess, I do too. A fascination of a Venus god, an obsession that's dangerous. So listen up, my friend, you better do again. He's gonna tear your world around. Cause then you know it takes the words from his poet. Better get ready to run. Well, get away, my friend, get away. She's a woman and you know that's that. Get away, my friend, get away. If that's the guy you know you are. Get away, my friend, get away. If that's the guy you know you are.
Our consciousness needs to be healed. We need to understand, we need to know who we are. We're human beings. Human, the bone, flesh, and blood. Our DNA, metal, mineral, liquid. All right? So we're shapes of the earth. We have being. The trees, everything of the earth is made up of the same DNA, same metal, mineral, liquid. So all things of the earth are shapes of the earth. We have being. And our being comes from our relationship to the sky and the sun. Because literally sunlight, the rays of light that are the sun, that's literally that sperm that brings life to the water-bearing womb that is the earth. So the being part of us is connected to this universe and this earth. And all things have that. All right? And our relationship to power is connected in recognizing that that's who we are. And we were given intelligence. Along with life, we were given intelligence, and intelligence for a human being. This is our medicine, our protection, our healing. This is our way to keep balance in evolutionary reality, generationally, individually. How clearly and coherently we use our intelligence.
A lot of the young people my age who were victims of this reign of terror have approached me and said, let's not let this happen again to our kids. So how are we going to not let this happen? We not let this happen by not allowing history to repeat itself. So we repeat history. We constantly hold this vigil to push that history, our history, oral history, to our people. And we remind them, a reminder of what happened, what could happen if we forget it. We could forget it. That's the healing process right here. We could forget what happened here by seeking atonement. If the goons who assaulted us, killed us, slaughtered us, if they would come forward with public apologies, that would be a tremendous step in this healing process. And then when we're talking about this healing process and that big step with the goons, we're also talking about this investigation, you know, and a congressional and Senate hearing to heal, you know. I can't explain it any other way. But yeah, that's kind of like the focus. So we can't lose the focus. The focus is that the American Indian movement is seeking justice for us as people, as a nation under siege, and as a nation that is wounded and cut or bleeding. And to stop the bleeding, you put pressure on it, and then you cover it. And then the bleeding stops. You let the air, the wind, the elements go through it, and it scars up by itself.
just like the Sundance, you know. You pierce and you think you're going to bleed to death, but you don't, because the wind and the earth and your prayer, the power in your mind will heal it.
One of these certificates left, and it reads, in recognition of their outstanding work to bring the real issues to the media, and in support of Leonard Peltier to let our voices be heard, presented on June 26, 2003, the Oglala Commemoration Committee would like to award a certificate of appreciation to the members who are here from Freeespeech TV. They are here filming this entire event. They're going to put it on TV.
Thank you. This is quite an honor. I don't know what I can say about the media, except that it's chock full of lies. This whole country is full of lies. That's why it's so important for us to be able to come here and talk to you and listen to you. The lies are so big, they're like going to fall off the tree any minute, and we want to be there with our cameras when they do. Thank you.
I wanted to sing a song because I thought of anime and my youngest granddaughter. She's 3 months old. My daughter read Anime's book, and she said, I'm going to name my baby after this brave woman. So my granddaughter's name is Anime Alexis Whitecomb. She's 3 months old. So every time I see this baby, I think of my sisters and the many unsolved murders here. And I know someday we'll have justice, because they told us that someday when we die, we're going to go spirit world. But I wonder, how about our Christian people? They say that that's getting overcrowded. It's like purgatory. There's no more room. So that's why I tell kids, learn this other way. Learn the Chinoopa way. It's going to make you strong. So if any of you guys want to wake up and dance, the song is to the sisters. I'm from Wounded Knee, FBI, they shot at me, and the federal government ran away. If you'll stand beside me, we will stand forever.
Some of the boys are still in jail, and that's the hardest part of it is, and what's been going on with, they're trying to blame everything on AIM again, and, everything that happened. And I don't know if we'll ever get over this. I don't know. It's kind of sad, but I get along with some of my relatives that they were on the goon side, and a lot of them, And now I'm beginning to talk to them, and I claim some of my relations, and stuff like that. But it's kind of hard. A lot of things that happen, it really hurts my family and everybody else in Oglala.
Our spirituality is very strong. We're a very strong spiritual people. We believe in everything that's natural. Right now, the prayers are the strength of our healing, that we have to come together in prayer. But that's where the healing began, is through prayer, and that's where, when we're healed, we will say thank you in prayer to the great mystery, to Kashala, up in the sky, the great grandfather.